The Depp-Heard domestic violence trials took the world by storm, and many, including famous names and faces, took sides in the battle. Though the verdict was long announced in Johnny Depp's favor, there's been a shift in popular opinion, at least on social media. In this video, we're going to take a look at where celebrities' opinions lie in this famous feud, and who's backing who. First up, let's talk about what a certain Pretty Little Liar had to say. Well, unlike us normies, the celebs don't show up to the court to shout and scream their support for their star of choice. But as we've seen over the past couple of decades, social media is a super powerful tool and the best way to get a peek into the minds of a celebrity. After the result of the trial was announced and Depp emerged victorious, all of us were waiting anxiously to see how celebrities would respond to this. Our favorite liar, Ashley Benson, was one of the first to publicly assert her support for the Pirates of the Caribbean star by posting a photo of Johnny Depp to her account on Instagram with an all-caps "yes" as the caption, followed by a bunch of hearts. Talk about being a super enthusiastic supporter. It seems as though Benson had a lot of star support behind her, because not only were her comments full of blue-ticked usernames, but Friends megastar Jennifer Aniston also showed her silent support for the cause by liking the photo. We guess this shows where the support lies in Hollywood. Next up, if we're talking about silent support, we should take a closer look at who liked Johnny Depp's post-trial Instagram upload. One thing we've noticed throughout this trial is that, apart from a few, most celebs shy away from publicly indicating which side of the fence they fall on. It might be out of self-preservation, or maybe they just don't want to be associated so publicly with the situation. Either way, a lot of famous names have chosen to show their support through a quick double tap on Depp or Heard's Insta post. A few that liked Johnny's include famous names like actors Lakeith Stanfield, Zoe Saldana, American Horror Stories Emma Roberts, The Eternals Gemma Chan, the model Bella Hadid, and the zany director Taika Waititi. Other Johnny Depp fans include Jennifer Aniston, Henry Golding, Joey King, Riley Keough, and surprisingly Jason Momoa, who is Amber Heard's co-star. The Momoa situation gets even more confusing when you take into account how he also liked Heard's statement that she posted on Instagram after the trial. So Jason, buddy, whose side are you on? You can't play for both teams in this situation. Next, don't worry, the support doesn't all swing in favor of Depp. Some celebs have voiced their concerns about the result of the trial. While some have chosen to side with the acting legend, Johnny Depp, others, unfortunately in the minority, have been outspoken about how the trial shouldn't have been decided in favor of Depp, and they've taken to social media to voice these opinions. One of the few Amber Heard supporters is comedian Amy Schumer, who simply posted a picture of a quote by the legendary feminist activist Gloria Steinem. It read, "Any woman who chooses to behave like a full human being should be warned that the armies of the status quo will treat her as something of a dirty joke. She will need her sisterhood." Whoa, we have goosebumps. With everything that has come to light about the case, especially the recent documents about Johnny Depp's actual abuse of Heard, we think that the case requires closer critical analysis, and that's an opinion that celebrity Valerie Bertinelli shared with her fans. According to her, a lot of professionals like lawyers and journalists have been upset at the verdict of this case. So, what are we missing? We think that's a question that needs to be answered as soon as possible. And now, we take a look at how some celebs have chosen the smart way out and not taken any sides. Honestly, we were pretty relieved to see the trial come to an end as well. Not only did it completely inundate every single one of our social media timelines, but it was also a constant trigger for anyone who may have been in the same situation themselves. The only way to keep away from it was to throw your phone into the ocean, basically. But that probably wouldn't have worked either, considering how publicized the trial was. Anyway, some celebs, including ex-talk show host Ricky Lake, put on their cool girl cap and commented on the verdict with a blasé, "Someone won. Sorry Ricky, but your 'I don't care enough about this to see who won' act doesn't pan out here, especially since you'd previously shown support for Depp," calling him soft-spoken and gentle. But there are other celebs like Bill and Ted star Alex Winter, who shortly after the verdict was announced tweeted that he needed a timeline to cleanse. "Us too, Alex, us too." But after this, he hinted at where his support lay by cryptically posting about how both the internet and the world are full of gleeful, misogynistic contempt. Those are strong words, and to be honest, we probably agree. Next, there have been some developments in the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp situation, and the tide might be turning away from Depp. Some time back, Depp superfans put together a bunch of money to unseal confidential court documents related to the case because they thought that they'd contain some super incriminating evidence against Heard. Well, they were half right because the incriminating evidence that they did contain was against Johnny Depp. Yep, he isn't as innocent as social media has been painting him out to be. All of this information was then uploaded to social media. And of course, anyone with an internet connection had access to it, and that included some celebrities as well. After we assume they or their teams read the information, the double tap was swiftly removed from Depp's post on Instagram, but not before a few eagle-eyed sleuths picked up the sudden drop in likes. The famous dissenters include Amanda Knox, Bella Hadid, Halle Bailey, Jamie Campbell Bower, Joe Perry, Joey King, Maren Morris, Melissa Ordway, Rachel Kirkconnell, Riley Keough, and Sophie Turner, and famous musician Youngblood. Next up, some might be backtracking on their support, but others are still strongly pro-Depp. The Depp camp may have lost a few famous members, but others, namely supermodel Kate Moss, stay strong in his favor. Moss was one of the many names brought up during the trial, but significantly, she was the only one who actually came to the stand to testify against Amber Heard. According to a rare interview that the notoriously private supermodel did some days back, she is staunchly in favor of Depp, saying that she knows the truth about the Pirates of the Caribbean star, and apparently for her, the truth is that he is not an abuser. Moss went on to talk about how a lot of the vile things that Depp said can be explained through his dependency on alcohol, which turned into alcohol abuse because, in her opinion, a person who is drunk says and does things that they would never do sober. And with that argument, she thinks that Depp is innocent. She has maintained this stance ever since she was brought forward to testify against Heard's claims that Johnny was abusive towards Kate Moss as well, when they were in a relationship during the 90s. This trial is just super messy, and we really think it shouldn't have been published, especially since so many high-profile names and opinions are involved. And finally, we think that Sharon Osbourne's 2 cents on the topic are something to pay attention to. We think that Sharon Osbourne probably had the most nuanced reaction to this whole situation. Not what you expected? Let us explain. Basically, she talked about how she didn't expect Depp to win, even if she wanted him to, considering the political climate around domestic abuse. She thought that the case would go to Amber Heard. For her, that would have been disappointing, especially since her personal interactions with Johnny Depp have shown him to be a gentle and kind soul. She talked about an incident that was super heartwarming, a moment when he spent 45 minutes talking to a young girl that was reading her diary to him, and this wasn't a publicity stunt or something to capture him in a good light, because there were no cameras around. He was just doing it because he wanted to, and not a lot of celebs of that stature would ever do something like that. That was really nice of him, but the thing is, she wasn't afraid to look deeper into the situation, talking about how the couple's relationship was toxic, and Johnny Depp's alcohol abuse didn't make the situation better. In her eyes, both Depp and Heard were super abusive towards one another, and that was put on display through the trial. Osbourne ended her commentary by saying something super interesting about how this trial won't have the career-ending impact that everyone thought it would. Johnny Depp has a global audience, and no film studio in their right minds would want to give that up. That's a wrap for this video. What side are you on? Who do you think deserves the support in this situation? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.